So first of all, what is the circulatory system? Before we answer this question, let's say hello to our good friend Hernando. He will help us explain. The circulatory system is the systematic transport of nutrients and oxygen via the blood that travels through veins and arteries to each of the billions of cells in the body. Blood also carries carbon dioxide, which needs to leave the body by bringing it to the lungs for us to exhale. This is all possible because the heart acts as our pump. Hernando has graciously allowed us to look into his heart, which is more or less the same for all terrestrial mammals. Oxygenated blood enters through the pulmonary veins, into the left atrium, then the left ventricle, and out the aorta, where it enters the systemic tissues of the body. Deoxygenated blood returns from the body through the superior and inferior vena cava, into the right atrium, then the right ventricle, and out through the pulmonary artery, where it's reoxygenated by the lungs. This diagram represents a mammalian circulatory system. Red is oxygenated blood, blue is deoxygenated blood. Do you remember that sound at the beginning of the video? That's an ECG machine measuring heartbeats. The P complex represents atrial depolarization as voltage approaches zero. The QRS spike is ventricular depolarization, the big push the heart gives to get blood all the way through the body. The T complex is the heart resetting itself. It's ventricular repolarization. The voltage differences are all caused by changes in the electrochemical gradient.
Now let's move away from Hernando and welcome his good friend, Lola the lizard. We will use lizards to represent all reptiles, although variation between reptiles exists. Let's take a quick look at what Lola's heart looks like. Oxygenated blood enters the left atrium down to the left ventricle and exits through both the left and right aorta. Deoxygenated blood enters the right atrium down into the left ventricle, then the right ventricle, and exits through the pulmonary artery. Here's how the reptilian circulatory system compares to the mammalian one. Skin is also a site of gas exchange. Blood mixes in the heart, and so semi-oxygenated blood circulates. The Poiseiulle equation is how we calculate the rate of blood flow through vessels, assuming they lay on the horizontal. Pi times the radius to the power of 4 multiplied by the pressure in minus pressure out over A times viscosity times length of the tube. Total fluid energy is a combination of all the things that get blood flowing through your body. It is affected by your heart, kinetic energy, and gravity.
Another one of our friends, Klaus, is here to join us. Contrary to his tough exterior, Klaus really does have a heart, and he is happy to show it to us. Oxygenated blood enters a single ventricle through the left atrium, deoxygenated through the right. Both are pumped through the conus arteriosus. Amphibian systems are similar to reptiles, but they also exhale through the skin. Blood itself travels through blood vessels. These are like tunnels that allow the blood to reach every cell. There are two types, arteries and veins. Where veins and arteries meet is called a capillary bed. This is a site of gas exchange, where O2-rich blood becomes O2 poor. Flow rate is important here. Too fast, and vessels will burst. This gas exchange can be either cocurrent, where gas and blood flow together, or the more effective countercurrent, where gas and blood flow opposite. The constant, higher concentration differentials allow more diffusion. Cross-current is also an option, but only for fish.
Our final friend that is here to help us with the circulatory system is Penelope the pike. As a fish, she has a very interesting heart because it is so simple yet effective. Let's dive into it and examine her heart. Deoxygenated blood enters the sinus venosus into the atrium, down through the ventricle, and exits through the bulbus arteriosus. In a fish heart, deoxygenated blood is pumped out of the heart and across the gills and flows through systemic tissues and flows back to the heart. Every circulatory system we have covered so far has been a closed system. A closed system involves blood flowing through a vessel to every cell, whereas an open system involves hemolymph pouring over every cell in the body. Small animals with few cells, such as insects, have open systems.
What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's new, pussycat? Whoa, 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 whoa. Pussycat, pussycat, I've got flowers and lots of hours to spend with you. So go and powder your cute little pussycat nose.